So let's talk about the guidelines before we get started with any journal work. We are going to open the floor for sharing in this workshop, but I'm never going to require that. So if somebody in here doesn't want to share anything today, that's perfectly fine. That's not why we're here. We're here so that you can get revved up and get started on this whole journal process using this method. And it helps to start with a group, to be with a group and really actually do it. I have had readers contact me and say they want to take a workshop because they've had the book, but they just somehow can't get started, or they don't get into a habit of doing it. So the whole idea of a habit is the next guideline. You don't have to do this every day. A lot of people, I'm one of them, if you tell me I have to do something every day, I won't. It's too much like parochial school homework and I just won't do it. But if I can do it when I'm motivated and I want to do it, then I'll do it. Okay? And if you're like me, then you're not going to want to keep a journal every day. And there's no need to. With this method, what you're doing is using the journal to get in touch with all of this inner life stuff and be able to integrate it into your outer life, and to deal with challenges and deal with your heart's desire and inner criticism and all kinds of stuff that people deal with often in therapy. And so that's what this is about. It's not about you have to do it every day. You know, I do it, sometimes I do it 3 or 4 times a day, sometimes I don't do it at all. I find that if I'm really motivated, I've got an issue in my life I want to deal with, this is where I take it. Okay. So that's really my guideline about how often. When to do it is up to you. I used to do journaling in the evening before I went to bed. Now I find that I'm more motivated to do it in the morning. It's changed at different points in my life since I started doing journaling. So it's up to you. Whatever, you know, if you want to make some kind of a rhythm or pattern out of it, it's probably good to get a particular time of the day that really works for you, when you know that you're going to have some quiet. You need to do this in quiet. Although I've done this in airplanes and airports and, you know, train stations and God knows where else, when I really needed to do it. And I carry it with me whenever I travel. But it's really optimal to have a quiet space. You can play some music in the background if you want to, but to just have your own space with no interruptions. And I've had people in my journal class that say, you know what, that one guideline and that one factor was worth the price of admission of even doing this. That I took the time out of my day to say no to everybody else, close the door, put the phone away, you know, put it on call forwarding, turn my cell phone off, and just give myself a half an hour to draw and write. That was worth the price of coming to the workshop. I've gotten a lot of feedback like that. So there are these sort of side effects that happen when you use these guidelines. Now, the confidentiality part is so that you do not worry about what anybody's going to think about what you draw and write. If you start doing that, you might as well throw this away. It might be a nice little sketchbook, but it's not going to be a creative journal, because you are going to be editing what you're putting down. And the whole point here is to totally be yourself. Have any of you ever read Anne Frank's diary? Right, most of us had to read that in school. That's a perfect example. It's a great piece of literature. It's one of the most published books in the world. I think like next to the Bible or something like that. Yeah, because it's required reading all over the world in high schools. And she just poured everything out. That's why it's such a great piece of literature. She did not hold back. And if you read the original edited version and then the unexpurgated version that came out later, a few years ago, you really see how much she poured out. And that's what makes it so great. It's her soul on paper. I mean, she just put everything there. And it's got everything in it. It's got all these emotions and the plight that they were in. It's an incredible historical document. It's just amazing. And she was 15 years old when she died. She kept that journal between 12 and 15. So we're not trying to make great literature. We're not trying to make art with a capital A here. The point here of this is to use the language of the soul, which is the arts, and the language of the emotions, to express our inner self. And the arts are the perfect language for that. That's what they're all about. That's what they're designed to do, is to express the soul, express emotions, express our deepest self. Because I don't want to short circuit the whole drawing process, because that's the one that gets the critic out. And I want to teach you some methods today for dealing with that critic later on. If I just let you collage today, the critic wouldn't come out, because you wouldn't have to be drawing. And you wouldn't hear the critic say, oh, you don't have any art, you can't draw, you can't paint, yeah. You know, this is stupid, you're wasting your time. You should be home paying bills, you should be home, you know, doing homework or doing your business work or something like that. You know, because this is silly, we're just sitting here scribbling. What's this all about? You know, that's what the critic will tell you. I can guarantee it. Those thoughts will come up today. And that's fine, because we want to see those thoughts. And they're going to come out so we can see them. So that's why I'm warning you about them. When they come up, it's like meditation, just be aware of it. Oh, there's a critic saying we're scribbling now? This is really crazy. Why did I come to this workshop in the rain today? To scribble on a piece of paper? This is dumb. Yeah. So if you hear that, and we're not just going to scribble today, we're going to do other things too, but we're going to start with that. So those are the basic guidelines. Privacy, confidentiality, do it whenever you really want, and use the prompts whenever you can. I have a handout that I'm going to give you later, but I don't want you reading that now because I want you to really immerse in the experience.